Joshua chapter 6, verses 15 and 16. If you have it, would you please signify by saying, I have the word. Here you will find the following words recorded. And it came to pass on the seventh day that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priest blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city. The word of the Lord is blessed. Would you please tell your neighbor, this is the moment to shout. This is the moment to shout. The word of the Lord comes to us from the book of Joshua, the first book of the history of Israel. It is a book that represents transition and a shifting in the landscape of God's plan for his people. This book begins with Joshua receiving instructions, promotion, and covenant blessings attached to the fact that here now Moses, the servant of God, is dead. And now therefore the Lord tells him to arise and go over this Jordan, thou and all this people, unto the land which I do give to them, even to the children of Israel. He declares to Joshua and establishes the precedence, even that every place that the sole of your feet shall tread upon, that have I given unto you, as I said unto Moses. It's interesting to understand that as God has chosen Joshua, he has chosen Joshua, but he has given Joshua conditions and terms to ensure his success. And the Lord tells him that his success will be based solely upon being strong and of a good courage. 3 times the Lord charges him with this condition, and 1 time it is echoed by the voice of the people. The final condition was that Joshua was to commit to do all that was written in the book of the law. This was the pact that God conditionally entered into with Joshua, and declared unto him that under these terms and conditions, that there shall not be any man able to stand before thee all the days of thy life. As I was with Moses, so I will be with thee. I will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. I love the Lord because he does not put us on assignment without equipping us to do the job. And so as he had given Joshua the assignment, he speaks to him concerning his equipment. But in the midst of this, Joshua is here now released to begin an investigative search of the land that God has given them to occupy. He sends out 2 spies by the cloak and the cover of night. And as they go in, they are given the instructions to spy out the land, but in particular to take a look at Jericho. As they traverse the land and enter into Jericho, they are coming upon a woman of the night, a woman of the streets, perhaps not a most notable woman, but a woman chosen by God. And so the Lord helps us to see here that it is not the applause of people or the vote of the community that establishes who God uses. God will use who he chooses. And I believe I'm talking to a bunch of people here tonight who've been chosen by God to do great exploits. Rahab secures these spies as the word reaches the king of Jericho, who sends messengers there on his own. And as the messengers go in to inquire of the whereabouts of the spies, they are told by Rahab that they have escaped from the city. But lo and behold, she secured them, she hid them, and she put her life on the line to accomplish this, because somewhere in her spirit, somehow deep down in the midst of all that she has done, all that she had become, and all that she was, there was some glimpse of of hope in her spirit that her breakthrough was on the way. I don't know if there's anybody here tonight that can feel a movement in your direction and declare that your breakthrough is on the way. Rahab testifies to the spies concerning the word that she has already heard concerning Israel. Their reputation has preceded them, and it has brought terror into the hearts of the inhabitants of this city. She shares with them that this is something that only God can do, and beyond reasonable doubt, your God is the true and living God. She says to them that we will hide you, but you've got to be careful because something is coming. And as the spies begin to leave, she begins to barter, because this is a woman who's not afraid to engage men. This is a woman who's not intimidated, and she boldly speaks to them, and they respond back to her. The deal is this: as they have escaped through her window by a scarlet cord, they tell her that this cord will be your marker, and as long as your family stays in this house, when the attack comes and judgment falls, they will be safe. This scarlet cord, reminiscent of something that God had already used in the history of Israel to bring their deliverance. For you will remember when they were heretofore bond servants in the land of Egypt, 400 years of slavery came to a crashing end as God began to unfold his hand before the Israelites. The Egyptians were prey as God released his power and showed them time and time again that our God is the only one God. The final climactic judgment that came upon Egypt and all the land, for even Goshen, the place heretofore safe and secure, was now not a haven, for there was only one thing and one thing alone that provided protection, one thing and one thing alone that gave them solace and security. This was the word that was spoken, and Moses iterated it to the people. Take a lamb of the first year, slay it, put its blood in a basin, and take hyssop, dip the hyssop in the basin, and put the blood on the doorpost and lintel. And when the death angel comes through the land, this is what will happen. When I see the blood, I will pass over you. And so here now, history in God's economy repeats itself. Fast forward back to Jericho, where the scarlet cord representing God's divine deliverance was a token and a sign hanging out of a window.